Hello. Oh, wow. That's a lot. That's a lot for 7:30. Oh, my watch is off. I'm on Eastern time. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to second edition of, that's loud, Coffee with Carlsen. I'll back up a little bit. It's November, and I did remind Coach Carlsen that maybe next year we don't do this exactly after a game day, but it is kind of exciting to come in after a big win at Chicago State. So, super glad everyone's here. Thanksgiving week, it's one of my favorite holidays. I know I might have mentioned this in previous years. The food is great. Also, it's a short work week, which we love. And then also, I am selfishly getting to go to Texas this weekend, so with women's basketball, so I'm very excited about that. My family lives in Texas, so I'm looking forward to that. So, really great fall. This is also a cool time of year because all the sports are transitioning through, and we get a chance to welcome our fall friends back for a little while as winter transitions, and then make sure we get excited for the winter. I know Coach Sutcliffe is here with softball. A couple of things that are coming up before we meet again. I know Coach will talk about this a little bit, but we have a doubleheader with the men on Wednesday, November 29th. So that's going to be a long evening. Everyone's going to need to take a little nap. But our game is at 6 o'clock. So we decided to move our games, midweek games, at 6 o'clock to see if we could get a little different crowd in, make it a little earlier for our fans, and get everybody home and sleeping so we can have coffee with Carlsen the next day. And then on December 6th, we have a midweek game that's not at night. It's it's 11 a.m., I know. So that's our kids' game, Education Day. And our marketing staff just told us we have 1,000 kids projected. I know. Get your earplugs in. Yep. Okay. And so that's a really fun game. We've had it probably, I don't know, this is probably the 5th or 6th year we've done this. We have a pretty good record on Education Day, and hopefully we can sustain that this year, right, Coach? All right. Ray Gooden is here to talk a little bit about volleyball, so I'm not going to talk about that, but I really love the little flyer in the middle of your table there about talking about tradition never graduates, and how really the reputation of our volleyball program, precedes anything that might have jumped out this year for us. So he's going to talk to us about a little bit of that. And other than that, we'll get going. I know everyone wants to hear from Lisa and not me. So without any more than that, let's go.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. These are the easy ones because once you start playing games, I just get to sit up here and talk all about basketball. I don't have to talk about events. I don't have to talk about things going on off the court. I just get to talk about basketball. And Deborah often reminds me that that's really what she would like me to stick to and not deviate off the script. Just talk about basketball. That's what I need you to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I do want to start with some thank yous, though. Obviously, I love that you guys are here, but I always think it's really cool when we have other head coaches in the room. And Coach Sud is my go-to as far as being here, even when she's been traveling across the country. So thank her for being here. Obviously, Ray is here to talk a little bit about their season, their program. But I think it's fun when there's other head coaches in the room at events like this because I think it obviously shows a lot for the support that we have for each other. The breakfast is good. So Bill and his staff, again, did a great job as we love our venue here at Ferranda's. Let's talk a little bit of basketball. So we are 3-1. We got together a month ago, and I stood up here and I told you how excited we were to get going. And if I would have told you at that time that we would be 3-1, I'd probably be pretty happy with that. We got an opportunity to start the season off for real at Eastern Illinois, a team that's a little bit going through a transition. They have a new coaching staff, and Coach Molant's really got them playing well and playing well together. But I was proud of the way we stepped on the floor against Eastern. We got an opportunity to play a lot of different kids. Our freshmen got some good game minutes, and I thought we really played against Eastern the way we need to play on a night-to-night basis. We were able to get up and down the floor, score some points. We settled in a little bit after the game got started, but it was a great start for us. And it's never easy to win on the road. I don't care who you're playing, where you're at, it's never easy to win on the road. So especially with what I will continue to say, a relatively young squad, those minutes are valuable. And then we turn around and play the University of Iowa. And Iowa is a team that is probably positioned to make a run this year to the NCAA tournament. They presented problems that we potentially will not see again as far as the length that they have, especially on the inside. And we knew that was going to be something that was going to be difficult for us. They have a really, really good post player. The game before we played them, she had 27 and 17 or something like that, and was Big Ten Player of the Week. And so they start 6'3", 6'3" at the 4 and 5 positions, and so we knew that was going to be a lot for us to handle. What we didn't know is that they were also going to shoot the ball extremely well that night, and so we really struggled to guard at times at all 5 positions. But the one thing about this team that held true that night, regardless of the outcome, was that it's not a team that's ever going to be intimidated by anybody. It's not a team that's ever going to give up. They played really hard. We had some kids do some good things in that game in different situations, and so there was definitely pieces of that we could take that were positives, even though we didn't come out with a win. You know, an opportunity also for us to play Big Ten schools, I think, is great for our kids as well. A great venue, a great crowd, but they were not awestruck at all, and for us, I think that's important. And then we came to Saturday. Many of you were there. You know, the Western game is one of those games that's on the schedule that was marked with an asterisk ever since last year when we went to their place. If you remember last year, we had come off of a game against Milwaukee, the double overtime Allie Lehman show game, and it was a great win for us. Milwaukee was coming off a great season, had a lot of kids returning, so it was a real signature win for us. And sometimes the game right after wins like that are difficult. And I'm not necessarily blaming it on that, but there is a little bit of a hangover effect, I think, when you come off of emotional wins like that. And I felt like that's the way we were at Western last year a little bit. They didn't necessarily have the anticipated squad that they thought they were going to have that made the run. But we were a little flat. We kind of were in control of the game the whole time. And then the last few possessions, we just didn't take care of things. We got beat at Western. And I remember thinking that's one that we let get away. And so, and I will speak for the coaching staff as well. We knew we had an opportunity to have them back on our floor, and it was one that we really wanted to get back. I know Coach McGinty has been watching Western film for about 9 months now. So he was ready to go. But a little bit different as far as Western coming in, because it was a team that went to the NCAA tournament. It was a team that won their league, and it was a team that returned everybody from that squad. And so we knew it was going to be one of those games, and it sure didn't disappoint. They're a great ball club, and we had times where things didn't necessarily look real great, especially in the second half. But as I mentioned in the Iowa game, this is a team that's really resilient and a team that's never going to give up. And I think we absolutely saw that on Saturday. Put ourselves in position to do just enough right to have a chance to win it. And then, you know, obviously Kelly's shot was a huge one, and it was exciting. And that's one that we're going to look back on, I think, in March and think about the significance of it, hopefully. You know, and after that, we had to have a game like that to make the unveiling of the banner that much more special. You know, it would have been pretty disappointing. And we talked about that. When are we going to unveil the banner, and can we do it after the game? And I said, we sure can, but I sure hope we win the game, because it's going to be a real downer if we're coming off a loss. And we picked a game where it was going to be a great opponent. So it was kind of the perfect storm. Had an opportunity to get Allie back here, which I thought was really special for her to kind of pull the cord, and especially since she was so instrumental in what we were able to do. So it was kind of a culmination of great things that day. The banner's still up, and I look at it every day and hope that the next gap between 1995 and 2017 is a little shorter. So then last night, we had an opportunity to go to Chicago State. And I don't know if any of you have been to Chicago State, but it was not the atmosphere that we had on Saturday. There's a lot less people in the stands. There's a lot less noise. And again, just like I talked about last year's Western game after the Milwaukee win, I was a little bit concerned about the hangover effect as far as going into Chicago State. And quite frankly, a team that we needed to beat and should beat. And what would that be like for us coming off the Western win? It was an interesting day, to say the least. So we had shoot around here, and then we went to eat here, and then we came out to eat, and we were getting ready to get on the bus to go into Chicago, and the bus didn't start. Well, that's unfortunate. So we got a little bit delayed here, got a different bus, one that was ready to go, And then we got into Chicago, and again, as many of you know, that's a little bit hit and miss when it comes to traffic, and it was pretty heavy. Now, generally, we get to the game about an hour and a half before tip. Well, it was about 25 minutes before tip when we pulled in. And so we did as much as we could to prepare on the bus. We had Phil back there taping ankles and everybody getting as ready as they could on the bus. And I said, one of Coach Kaz's favorite sayings is, have you ever seen a cheetah warm up? Now think about that. Have you ever seen a cheetah warm up? Because we say that as far as getting up and down the floor. And it was the best thing that Maya could have said when we were getting off the bus. Because, you know, we have some kids that were a little nervous. Like, I can't believe we're here 25 minutes before the game. And Maya says, don't worry, Coach, you ever seen a cheetah warm up? So I knew we were going to be fine. You know, and we came out. We came out in the first quarter especially and got going and really established ourselves from the beginning. Now, it got a little bit sloppy in the middle, but I thought a quick start for us was really important, and that's what we got. Again, we had an opportunity to get a lot of kids on the floor, and all of those minutes, regardless of who you're playing or what the score is, are all valuable as we continue to go. So that gets us to 3-1. It's been an exciting 3-1. There's been a lot of different types of teams that we've played, and that will continue. We get an opportunity to go to Texas, to San Antonio this weekend, which I keep checking the forecast, and it's about 72 and sunny every day that we're there. So that'll be a lot of fun. It's not too late. You guys can still come join us. It'll be a lot of fun. And we're going to play the University of Texas San Antonio and then Lamar. Both really good teams. Again, different styles that we've seen. And I think the more different types of teams that we play is better in preparation for what we're going to see, especially with teams in the MAC. So we're looking forward to that. And then Deborah mentioned the 2 games that we have coming back at home. That'll be the last 2 games at home before the holiday, when we get a chance to play Bradley at that Wednesday doubleheader on the 29th. And then Education Day, we play Loyola. Again, two teams that will probably consistently be on our schedule. I think they're good measuring sticks for us as far as good regional competition here in the state. And the more we play Illinois schools, the more I like to see what that record looks like as far as NIU's success against teams like that. So those will be two quality opponents and good to get home. And then we'll finish out the non-conference season, and we are actually going to Puerto Rico. You know, I mentioned, I think probably the first one, about how that was something that was really up in the air and what was that going to look like. We've been in pretty constant contact with people down there, and it really sounds like they're getting things up and running. Things in San Juan look really good as far as the hotels and the playing facility and things like that. So we'll get a chance to go down there and play, and hopefully do a little bit of relief work while we're down there. I think all the teams are going to get together and really see what we can do as far as helping in that community, especially when we have an off day or some off time. So I know the kids are looking forward to that. That'll be a great wrap up for our non-conference. And then we'll get ready for the MAC and see what happens. That's what I have for you. So does anybody have any questions for me before I introduce our special guest?
Practice passing on Sunday?
You know, we practice a lot of things every day.
Well, the passing game wasn't there early on Saturday.
The thing about Western that is pretty consistent, and we could tell you in the game plan, Western is going to be, they lead the country in steals. And we could tell them, you know, listen, they're going to be handsy, they're going to try and hit from behind, they're going to be really active in their zone defense. And I think it's hard as a player until you get into it and get a feel for what that's like to adjust. The beauty of that is I think we turned it over 13 times in the first half, and I think we turned it over like 5 or 6 in the second half. So as the game went on and the adjustment was made as far as the kids on the floor, I think that's what we want to see in the growth of our players. You know, we can put them in the best position and tell them in a scouting report what's going to happen, but sometimes they just have to get a feel for it. And make no mistake, Western Illinois is going to be a great team this year. I mean, they were, and they are going to win a lot of ball games. So I thought our adjustments that the kids made along the way were good. That gave us a chance at the end to pull it out.
Yeah, they are good. I just have a comment. I thought that inbound pass for that last shot in the Western game was as good as a shot or better. Because if that pass isn't there, we don't get the shot off.
Right. You know, it's funny. A lot of teams, I think I said this in my post-game press conference, a lot of people say, oh, yeah, coach, just how you drew it up. And probably 90% of the time you kind of shake your head like, that's not at all what we drew up. But in this case, I will tell you that's exactly what John drew up. You know, it's funny. The kids came to the huddle, and you can see in their eyes, because we've done it a million times in practice, they said, we're going to have a chance to win this. There's 1.8 seconds on the clock, and you can see it in their eyes that they really believe that the ball's going to go in the basket and they're not going to overtime. It's a very comforting feeling as a coach. And so, you know, John has been able to put them in great situations. He kind of runs our offense, and it's not something new for them. That's a pass that Courtney has made a million times in practice. It's a cut, at least, that Kelly has made a million times in practice. So they were comfortable in that situation, and that's really all you can ask. But it's really nice to see in their eyes that they believe that they're going to get it done. You know, I know that we're going to put them in the best position we can, but for them to believe that it's going to happen is just, you know, it's a tribute to their belief in each other. You know, it wasn't just Kelly. It was everybody. It was like, we got this. We know what we're going to do. We know what's going to happen. And the worst thing that can happen is we go to overtime. But, yeah, it was a pretty special moment.
You know, you got this going on here with the conditioning, and I knew in the fourth quarter, and I told my wife, I said, wait till the fourth quarter, that conditioning and endurance was going to be a factor, and that's what we found out. Lynn mentioned it here, and do you see that? And we see what you know the girls are going through, you know, on the screen here in the terms of conditioning. Is that valid? What I just said?
I think it's absolutely valid. It's something that we talk about all the time. And one of the things that we want to do every time out is wear out our opponent. You know, there's a lot of reasons why we play fast, and we talk about how fun it is to watch and how fun it is to play and how fun it is to coach. But the reality of it is, if you can play at that pace, the opponent most of the time cannot sustain that for 40 minutes. And so we have every intention of being able to wear teams out. And I think that's true. I think you saw that was a piece of the comeback. We saw it at Eastern. We had a really good fourth quarter. We saw it last night. That's really where the game got under control, I think, is in the fourth quarter. And I think we'll be pretty consistent with that. If we can continue to play at that pace and be deep enough to do it, that's the plan every night out.
Congratulations on that anniversary surprise for your parents. That was really, really sweet.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, their 50th was actually that day, and we've celebrated earlier. But I have a brother and two sisters, and they're like, you know that mom and dad are going to be there at your game on that day. Are you going to do something? I'm like, yeah. So Quinn and the marketing people helped me put something together, but they were obviously surprised, and my kids were there to give them some flowers, so it was kind of fun.
And any update on injuries at all?
We still don't know exactly on John A. She's probably going to have an MRI in the next day or two. You know, obviously that would be a huge loss for us if it is something serious or something season-ending. We're still hoping that it's not, but we don't know anything yet on her. I think everybody else is okay.
Good.
When does Renee come back?
Renee's actually not going to come back. So that is a situation that we're in. You know, Renee, if you remember 2 years ago, had a really extensive knee surgery, kind of like microfracture, not exactly. And she played all last year, you know, obviously in a lot of pain, but she's a really, really tough kid. But it got to the point this year where that repair is just not, it's just not able to hold up. And there was a pretty high chance that we were going to be in that situation. So, you know, we sat down and talked a little bit about it, and she felt like she wasn't going to be able to perform at the level that she wanted to and that we probably needed her to. So she's not going to be back in uniform, which is unfortunate.
Thing that comes to my mind all the time is, did you call a timeout? Who called a timeout with 1.8? You did.
The kids did.
The kids did?
Yeah, and that was huge. It absolutely was.
The whole key to it. I mean, and call that time, and that was smart. I mean, it's really.
And again, if we continue to do those things in practice, you hope in those situations they're going to make the right decision, and they absolutely did to give us a chance. All right. Well, I'm going to introduce my special guest before I get an opportunity to introduce Ray. So, as is tradition, the last few times I brought a student athlete with me, and today we have Jazz Harris. Now, I don't usually tell her this because I don't like her to get a big head, but Jazz really is one of my favorite people. She's somebody who has had kind of a tough run from a collegiate standpoint injury-wise, but is somebody who's really valuable to us as far as the energy and enthusiasm she has for the program, what she is able to provide from that standpoint to her teammates. And she's going to tell you a little bit about her story and her journey to NIU. Jazz Harris.
What number are you?
33. I'm that little young lady on that card. Thank you so much, Lisa. Coach Carlsen. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jasmine Harris. I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am a fifth-year senior. And like Coach Carlsen said, I did have some rough years here at NIU. But overall, I think I had some great experience. And with the help of this coaching staff, they've made life here a little easy off the court. Not as much as on the court, but yeah, so I'm a fifth-year senior. I am in grad school. I'm studying sports management, and hopefully I can land a very good job with doing something around basketball, seeming that is what I have been doing for the last 22 years of my life. But just to give you a little background about me, I came here in 2013, and I played under Kathy Bennett before Coach Carlsen got here. And then when she got here, it was a lot different. I think she understood me more as a player, and she expected a lot out of me. So that drove me to do things out of my comfort level, especially when it came to conditioning. So you mentioned the preseason workouts and the things that we have to do. I think Coach Carlsen harps a lot about conditioning because we do want to be that team to outplay them in the fourth quarter. And since she's been here, that's been, somebody got a phone call.
It's hard not to laugh at that.
Yeah, that's a good ringtone. But yeah, so we do a lot of conditioning, and as much as we complain about it during that time, it works in our benefit because a lot of teams are like breathing heavy, a lot heavier than we are. And Coach Carlsen, she does a great job in our sports trainers, making sure that we are in the best shape that we need to be in when the season starts. So that is always a plus for our program. And I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you guys thank you so much because it is great to see everybody here. I know my freshman year, we didn't have a lot of fans, and these last couple of years, we've seen a lot of people in the stands. So I really want to thank you guys for being committed to our team and coming to our games, even away games as well. But yeah, so my sophomore year, I tore my Achilles, and I was not able to play. And the transition from coming back from that was not easy, but when Coach Carlsen got here, like I said, she drove me to do better, both on and off the court. So I was able to come back from that. And then last season, I think like a couple of days in practice, if not the first or second day, I had a really bad injury, and I ended up getting an MRI, and it came back really bad. I blew my entire knee out. So that was another big injury, same leg. What are the odds? Same leg, 2 surgeries. My legs aren't that big as is, so I was walking around with chicken legs all 5 years here at NIU. But yeah, so it was tough coming back from that, and I did rehab and I started practicing, and unfortunately, I know you guys are wondering, like, I haven't seen this girl on the court, and, but unfortunately, I talked to Coach Carlsen about 2 weeks ago and just decided that physically, as Renee, I'm not able to meet the demands of playing here at this program. So, like Renee as well, I will be on the bench as a student coach. I like to think I'm a coach already, so I don't want to say student, but I like to think I'm one of her assistant coaches. No offense to John and Adam and Maria. But it's been kind of tough. It was really emotional. I contemplated a lot. I talked to my family, and I think it was best for me to just sit back and watch the game and enjoy it from that aspect than putting my body through more than it has to go through. So, yeah, unfortunately, I won't be continuing playing physically for NIU, but I will support the team as best to my ability. So, yeah, I think that's about it for me. Do anybody have any questions, concerns? And I'm going to tell you everything.
I'll tell you, we're going to miss your twisting inside moves, and you really, I mean,
You caught those.
You
You
live
caught-
up to the
yeah.
name Jazz, you know,
Yes.
because you do have some great moves.
Thank you so much. Steve? Thank you, Mr. Steve. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Haven't been out there a ton, but to hear that, it makes me feel good. So, yes. You got a question, sir? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, that's all my time. Thank you so much again for having me.
Again, when you come to games, you'll see Jazz on the bench. Pretty instrumental in the enthusiasm. She also does a great job with our recruits. You know, there's nobody, I don't think, that tells the story better than Jazz does when we have kids on campus. So we love that we put her in charge of things like that. She does actually have a whistle at practice that she tends to use more than I care. Sometimes I have to make her take that off. All right, the next person I want to introduce is our volleyball coach, Ray Gooden. Just finishing up year 15, I believe. 3-time MAC champs, 4-time Coach of the Year, and 2-time NCAA participant, and the all-time winningest coach in volleyball at NIU, Ray Gooden.
I'm supposed to follow Lisa. I'm supposed to follow Jazz. I used to tell the jokes and all that stuff was good. And morning, everybody. First, it is awesome to continue to see this grow from how it started to what it is now. You know, and it's all because of you guys. And everything we do is because of you guys. And so it's really neat to see. It's really neat to see faces here that actually know volleyball things as well. That have come to matches, see some things happen, talk to us, coach us a little bit. But it's really neat. Some quick introductions before I get started. Back in the corner, those two with crazy hair are Gianna Donovan, 2/3 of the group. The few times they get a chance to see me is when I can take them to school and pick them up. So that's why they're here right now. So I'm on daddy detail, but it's okay. Next to those guys is Melissa. Melissa is my current boss. So it's great to have her there. Deborah is my old boss. And then any complaints you guys have is because of Dee. Dee hired me here a long time ago. So any type of griping, you guys can address it with her and be just fine. The newly minted Hall of Famer, of course, too. And then also back behind is our staff, because the last time I talked, well, a lot of things have changed. Bring this back down here, I'm short. Our staff, Amy Angelos, who's back there, who went to Bradley, most recently helped out at University of Michigan. And then Joe Davidson's back there as well. Joe was at Ohio State, helped us out as our tech coordinator for the last couple of years and joined our staff. Also, our trainer who we share with softball is Emily Belcher, who helps keep all of our players together. And that's just, just a little piece of what our group is. Okay, Deborah was nice and tried to soften the blow. Yes, this year was bad. First of all, all the things about it, starting in with me, it was a year that we didn't expect to have happen. We are fortunate it doesn't happen on a regular basis, but it's one of those things that it does work out that way. We had a really good schedule, playing some really good teams. For sure the toughest schedule we've ever had here We had, I think, 15 matches against teams that were in the top 100, and it's cool. And you wanna be against those teams and see those things. I'm gonna step back a second. You can still hear me, right? Yeah. We're good. I talk too loud and too fast anyway. It's okay. So we played against teams that were good, and the names and hear about, or maybe you don't know. So it's nice to play against Big Ten teams, like Lisa was saying, Big Ten teams, Big 12, all the big folks, but also really strong programs for volleyball, Dayton's, other programs like that. It's nice to be in that arena. You want to be playing against those types of teams. We did. We just didn't know how to do it long enough against some teams that were playing pretty good volleyball the times we played against them. But it's okay because that's where we're trying to be. We're trying to get ourselves to that next level. Quick story, going back to last year, not holding on to it too much. We were fortunate to have a really good year. We played in the championship match at home, and it was a really good experience. A lot of you guys were there. It was awesome. So much fun. We had a workout that morning after a real emotional win against Ohio. We were playing Miami in the championship. And in that server pass, little practice thing, we had a couple of kids cry. We had another little meltdown and some other stuff going on. And I'm thinking, I'm walking back to the office, this is not going to happen. It's just not. It's going to be another year where we've been in the championship, I think, 4 or 5 times, and we came up on the short side, and I'm thinking it's just not going to happen. So I'm walking back, and I run into 2 seniors, and I'm like, hey, so what's up? We okay? And they're like, we got it. We'll be all right. And in that moment, you kind of realize, and you continue to realize how much of an effect the kids have of what goes on. I get way too much credit for when things go well. Not enough blame when things don't go well. And it's because of our kids and all of our sports before their success. And the rest is history, as they say, and it was a really cool experience. Take that and understand it with this group we have right now. We have good players. It's just a matter of now getting the experience that we need to do what we need to do. Those kids in that last cycle were freshmen at one point, and they weren't as good as they ended up. We've been fortunate to develop kids and make them better. They made themselves better a lot with the support of our staff and other members here, to where they finish up a lot stronger than they end up. So we're hoping with a new group, as we work our way through, we're going to be strong and do some positive things in the future. No excuses. It's exactly what it is. On the table, you can kind of see what we're about, what we've been about. And I've been fortunate to be a part of some of those things. It was really good before me. Trying to make sure it's going to be really good after me. But while I'm here, I'm trying to make it the best way we can possibly make it. We have some good kids. We had 2 players make all conference this year, which means we have good players. It's just a matter of making sure we end up continue to be a good team, because that's our goal. Our motto this year was get better together, and I think at moments it worked itself out. The last match kind of shows what we're capable of doing when we played against Toledo to finish up our season. We were in a 4-team quagmire at the end. 4 teams ended up 7-9 in our division alone. So with that, 2 weeks prior, we had a chance to win the West. With all the mess we had, we still had a chance to win the West 2 weeks before the season ended. We just had to win all 4, and unfortunately we didn't. And we controlled our destiny until the last match. And we needed 4 scenarios to happen for us to work, and 3 of them worked for us. So, it's just one of those things where when it's out of your hands, sometimes it's tough. But again, we put ourselves in a spot to still be competitive. And for how it started, if you saw us play in August and to see how it ended in November, I thought we improved and got better as a group and got better together. So that part was positive. Recruiting-wise, we lost 4. And we added in another 3 to start. We have more kids coming in. One of those players is local, and Jasmine Kemp, who's from DeKalb, which is nice to recruit out of your backyard. She's a really good athlete, and I think she's going to do some really good things for us. But we have another player from West Chicago, and then a setter from Indianapolis, plus others coming, along with our crew of 10. We will get a chance to play against good teams next year. So on the front, I can tell you early right now, we will play. We're going to go to Alabama to play those guys, and there'll be some good teams down there. And then we're going to go to Western Kentucky to play. Western Kentucky's a perennial top 30 team. Xavier is a top 40 team, and somebody else that's really good. So, but that's what we do. That's how it works here, and that's why the kids come to NIU to play volley. We also will host, and we hope at that tournament we'll have some good teams like we usually do, and also play against hopefully more in-state schools and get ourselves ready for conference. The last match of the year also reminded me about the nature of the job. We played Toledo, and Toledo had one of my best friends as a coach, and he was relieved of his duties that following day or that Monday. And it helped me realize and understand how lucky I am to have to be a part of what I am, and what I've been able to do. And after now year 16, it's gotten so much better. I feel like I've gotten a little better, lost a little weight. I've gained some weight, then lost some weight. But I just have a continued appreciation for what I'm able to do on a daily basis, which is teach, and hopefully it helps people improve. Without your support, none of that can happen. So I'm very, very thankful for all of you guys for what you do, thankful for the opportunity that I have, and thankful to be a Husky. Thanks. I'm going to take my kids to school. I apologize.
All right, I'm thankful for the raffle ticket bucket. All right, we're going to waive four items, apparently. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. All right, let's do this. Okay. The Prims aren't here to win, so maybe somebody else gets to win today. Oh, no, not that person. All right, 294523. Oh, wow. A staff person gets a basketball shirt. Maybe you can give that away. Okay, we'll get another one. All right, then. You have enough gear? You have one on right now? All right, 294518. Yes, there. The Price is Right. Back there. All right, keep moving. Okay, 294524. 524. 524. 294524. They left. Oh, that's too bad. Or they're not paying attention. All right. That was Amy Angelos again. 294522. Hey, there we go. How many is that? 2? Yeah, I've got 4 coupons up here. I don't count very well. It's a problem. 294511. Yes. One more. No, she got it. Winner chicken dinner. It's good stuff. All right. Last winner, 294534. All righty then. Price is Right back there in the back. Good stuff. Congratulations to all the winners. Love winning. Sorry, Amy. Next time. And we seem to be very thankful this show for obvious reasons. It is Thanksgiving week, like we mentioned, but also just really thankful for being in this community. And I don't. Steve said I'm great on the radio, which I am, by the way, and I wish I was on the radio more, but they don't let me. But really, at halftime, I talked a little bit about our Huskies Invest Week that we had last week, and many of you were part of that, and really stepped up and contributed to our efforts. We're not done yet. We obviously have a lot of needs that we need to fulfill, but really do appreciate all the efforts here, not only coming to games, coming to this event, but also donating to our cause. You see the kids that are here. You see Ray's passion. Our coaches that are here. It's a phenomenal place to be. I mentioned last night as how proud I was to be here working and a Husky, to watch alumni give back to really what we're trying to get done here. So it's an amazing place to be. I'm really proud to be here. So thank you very much. And we'll see you on the 12th of December. We're going to have our tennis coach here, Tanya Mahefu. I think I got that right. I'm pretty sure I did. But in the meantime, remember Education Day, so 1,000 kids. All right, that's going to be fun. Doubleheader on the 29th. And yes, so if anyone wants to jump on the plane, San Antonio, we leave Thursday morning. So we're going to go to the Riverwalk for some Tex-Mex, which I'm very excited about. But in the meantime, thanks again for your support, and go Huskies.
Yeah.
Yeah.